Good morning, Khmer Time readers, audiences, viewers, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Khmer Time Crosstalk Live. Today, I'm very glad to talk to His Excellency Mervin Guido Cupa Lopez, Ambassador of the Democratic Republic Timor-Leste to the Kingdom of Cambodia. Good morning. I'm so glad to have you today to hear your wisdoms about our bilateral relationship in the past, current, and in future between the two kingdoms, between the two nations, Cambodia and Timor-Leste. But first of all, let me invite you to share yourself a bit. How do you describe yourself, and what is your mission in Cambodia?
Well, first of all, I would like to address my gratitude. Thanks for the Khmer Times. Been long, such 5 or 6 years ago, been promoting Timor-Leste to people of Cambodia, and also in the regional and also multilateral. That is, Khmer Time is a very reliable sources for the English language newspapers in Cambodia. So, and also for the thank you for this invitation. It's a great honor for Timor-Leste for today for a talk show with the Khmer Times Talk Live. I have to, my mission here is as I represent the country, and also I'm very happy, very lucky to be the government of Timor-Leste to appointed me to be ambassador in Cambodia.
Right.
So Cambodia is one of the beautiful country. They're friendly people.
Thank you.
And very enjoy, and also for global disease. And my personal life also very lucky.
Right.
Because after I landing in Phnom Penh in early or in the middle of February,
right,
starting lockdown, and we are safe in Cambodia with
right.
Timor-Leste, all the Timor-Leste students, and our diplomatic staff here is always safe.
Right.
Under the government of Samdech Chu Hussein.
Right.
To have a good measures to prevent the COVID-19 to spread.
Right.
To the spread into the community.
Right. This is something that we should celebrate for the Samdech Techo, for his measure, for his strong active and to prevent the people from the death because of the COVID-19. So that is good. That's good news. So I know that the embassy has been set here in 2014. What is progress? What was progress since then? Since the embassy has been set up in Cambodia?
Well, after we established here, before we have a very high level official visit.
Right.
With our former president of Timor-Leste, His Excellency Nobel Peace Prize Suze Ramos Horta.
Right.
Visited Cambodia.
Right.
In 2010.
Right.
If I'm not wrong, in 2011 as well, twice. 2 times visited Cambodia. And also the second is our former Prime Minister, His Excellency Kairala Sanana Gusmao.
Right.
Also visited, official visited to Cambodia. That is the open way.
Right.
For to establish Timor-Leste embassy in Phnom Penh.
Right.
So then one of my predecessor, my outgoing predecessor for Her Excellency Felicidade Guterres is one of the ambassador when we concluded as our established our embassy in Phnom Penh, and
right.
she been here working closely with the official government.
Right.
During her period for 4 years in Cambodia, and we starting have lots of MOU, memorandum of understanding with the official government, with the previous government.
Right.
But because of COVID, after the COVID, this COVID-19 is appears, and now it's little bit pending.
Right.
That's why it's my mission here. I will continue to follow up and look after all that. MOU is important for to strengthening our bilateral cooperation through people to people.
Right.
And economic cooperations and cultural cooperation.
Right.
Then good to increase the volume of commercial between Cambodia and Timor Leste.
Right.
Because it's right now the volume of trade between both countries is very low.
I see.
Very low.
Right.
Even only for Cambodian side to Timor Leste only around 100,000.
Right.
Timor Leste to here is only around 5,000 or something like that.
Right.
So now is my mission here, and I need to hard working.
Right.
So that's why the first is important, because of we are come from the post-conflict countries.
Exactly.
So the important to how people of Cambodia and people of Timor Leste to know what is Cambodia is.
Right.
What is Timor Leste is.
Exactly.
And that's why it's important comparing to the other main member of Asian state.
Right.
When they established the diplomatic relationship more than 50 years.
Right.
Like Cambodia and Singapore is more than 50 years.
Right.
With Malaysia more than 60.
Exactly.
Vietnam and Thailand 70 years, and Indonesia.
Right.
And Timor Leste is just only for 5 to 6 years.
5 to 6 years, yeah.
6 years. So,
right.
But they are very optimistic.
Right.
That because of the both of these people been have a historical reasons.
Right.
In the past. So because of interruption of the foreign occupations.
Right.
That's why it's no chance for Timor-Leste people to come and visit Cambodia.
Exactly.
And also Cambodia side have internal problems.
Right.
It's very hard economic situation to have a formal diplomatic relationship with Timor-Leste.
Right.
But however, that is up to the for the international multilateral level to the United Nations, Cambodia and Timor-Leste always side by side, and the issue of even human rights.
Right.
Cambodia always supporting for Timor-Leste.
Right.
Timor-Leste, while Khmer roads is still occupied here, and with one of the regimes.
Right.
Is let's say like a very difficult situation, civil war in Cambodia.
Right.
But Cambodia still have people of Cambodia still have a big-hearted, and they sympathetic.
Right.
And supporting for Timor-Leste have a right to self-determination.
Right.
And finally, Timor-Leste is independent.
Right. Excellency Lopez, I think that you have a long list of your mission to be completed with your in your term. But can you highlight 3 major things that you really want to make it done under your operation here in Cambodia?
Well, the first is important here is my mission. I need to important how to first I have to promoting Timor-Leste first.
I see.
Into the to the people of Cambodia to know more about Timor-Leste. What is the Timor-Leste? How is the in the past
right.
Timor-Leste historical attachment between 2 countries, because it's because we are in the past have a very isolated. Timor-Leste is very isolated.
Right.
During the occupations, and no any news at all. Even some other Asian country, even Indonesia as well.
Right.
People, they don't know what is Timor-Leste is.
Right.
Yeah, and so that's why during my task in Cambodia, the first is to promoting socializing into the province and municipal level.
Right.
It means like to people can know, or that is a Timor-Leste.
Right.
Timor-Leste is
Timor-Leste.
is a Timor-Leste.
Right.
Then after that, then they're planning how to encourage more for cultural cooperation.
Right.
Especially people to people.
Exactly.
People to people. More Timor-Leste people can come to visit Cambodia.
Right.
And people of Cambodia to more visit Timor-Leste.
Right.
To know that is the only way we can increase for our economic relationships.
Right.
To increase the trade and commercial issues.
Right.
Because it's, I know that is Cambodia is one of the country, new post-conflict country, but doing the very well after the 2 decades.
Right.
For the economic growth is very impressive.
Right.
For Timor-Leste and also not for Timor-Leste, but the world all is appreciated for this impressive achievement under the Samdech Hussein leadership. I think is for these experiences all Timor-Leste wanted to learning. We have to exchange learning each other. For example, like area of tourism.
Exactly.
Tourism, Cambodia developing tourism such as very extraordinary.
Right.
Extraordinary regarding hospitality, for the peace. You can travel into anywhere.
Right.
Even myself, just only almost 1 year, been traveling in all capital city, go anywhere. Totally 24 hours is peace.
Right. What about the Timor-Leste these days in terms of security and politics? Is that conflict remains going on, or fully peace in your country?
Well, Timor-Leste after we got after independence, restored independence. We gained independence in 2002.
Yeah.
Then in the last we have a little bit internal problem in 2006, military problems.
Right.
But then the new government under the leadership of Sanana Gusmao.
Right.
So then and with other political party in Timor-Leste, then resolve all the problems.
Right.
Then after 2006 up to until today is Timor-Leste is a very peaceful country.
Right.
Comparing to some other country,
Right.
even the big country in the world as well, and
Right.
no any criminals, no any fightings
Right.
in the clubs or everywhere is free, and people are foreigners staying there. They
Right.
feel very peaceful.
Right.
They can have a free to traveling around all the territories.
Right. Cambodia after war take about 30 or over 40 years to reinstall or rebuild our nation. Timor-Leste is about independence in 2002. Is about 18 years time. You may need a bit longer time to rebuild your nation. But since you gain independence, what's the economic base? For example, like the major pillar for economic base in the Timor-Leste. I heard that you have a lot of the petroleum, oils and resource. Is that the key? Is that the only resource that the economy base for the to develop your country?
Well, Timor-Leste is our main pillars for the sources from to develop our country from the state budget. We use the petroleum funds.
Right.
Petroleum funds is from the oil and gas, especially from the offshore. So that's why we need to try to develop the other sectors. We have a tourism industry starting to develop, but not much.
Right.
Because it's just only 18 years.
Right.
Because when we talking about for the tourism industry, we need to prepare in our basic infrastructure.
Right.
For example, like goods and services,
Right.
hospitality, infrastructure for airport,
Right.
hospitals is for the good condition. So yeah, and that is for the alternative
Right.
sources for the income for the country
Right.
from oil and gas, non-oil and gas sectors.
Right.
And also we have another very potential, plenty of natural resources like gold,
Oh, okay.
marble,
Right.
and manganese,
Right.
and such as like we have agricultural product is coffee of Timor-Leste.
Right.
Is one of the coffee very famous
Right.
now in the world. So and also we have petroleum for oil and gas in the onshore side.
Right.
Still not developed, starting to invited the foreign companies
Right.
to invest in this sector or something. So Timor-Leste is comparing to this Timor-Leste is a lucky, little bit lucky because of after the independence we have a main income
Right.
for the sources from the royalty from the other oil and gas
Right.
comparing to Cambodia.
Right.
Have a very difficult times in the past for 20, 30 years ago.
Right.
After the civil war, and they have a difficult to face the financial situation.
Right.
But, after that, then slowly will be outcoming. Now is becoming one of the very very good income,
Right.
or very good economic development for the Cambodia.
Right.
So that's why is Timor-Leste need to have for the non-petroleum sectors. We can exchange land from Cambodia,
Right.
and Cambodia we have experiences in development of a sector of the oil and gas.
Right.
We can exchange these experiences. One thing I have to tell that is for the most important for like we just recently last year in 2018 and we formally signed for the other diplomatic
Right.
resolve for the maritime boundaries.
Right.
One of the first we sit with the Australian government, and finally we signed last year. His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs
Prasakon, yeah.
represent His Excellency Samdach Chu, Prime Minister, and attending there for the 20 years of anniversary of Timor-Leste
Right.
referendum. And at that time, two Prime Minister of Australia and Timor-Leste signed this maritime boundary.
Right.
That is meaning that is Timor-Leste doing the very good progress, and one of the fastest resolve the problem of the borders.
Right.
Compared to the some other countries.
Right.
Been more than 50 years, even 70 years until today.
Right.
Some other country very hard to resolve their own maritime borders.
Right. Back a bit to tourism sector. Cambodian very easy to promote because after peace we have Angkor Wat, we have the beach, very beautiful beach, and we have a lot of natural resources. So a lot of foreigners want to see Angkor Wat and the rest. But what else we can see in the Timor-Leste? Any good islands or anything
Well,
that really interested for foreigners?
It is Timor-Leste have a very unique country.
Right.
The basic thing, we have a very beautiful island. Some beautiful island like island of Jaco,
Right.
and island of Atauru, and we have beautiful mountains,
Right.
and we have beautiful forest, and surrounded by ocean.
Right.
And historical reason is Timor-Leste may be attractive for the foreigners because one of the small country, less than 1 million in that times,
Right.
but able to fight against for the big country.
Right. But Indonesia is big one, yeah.
They gain independence.
Right.
And so people are very eager
Right.
to come into Timor Leste to see how is Timor Leste, such a small country, isolated country, no anyone, no ever any country to supporting comparing for the Latin American during the liberation fighting or even in Indochina and Africa. They are geographically is quite for have a chance that other country can supporting
Exactly.
military equipment for them, but the Timor Leste is very difficult at that time.
Especially some years ago, I've seen that Singaporean company when they set up company invest on the hotel and the other businesses, and also Australian also invested to invest in the Timor Leste. What about Cambodia? Anything that potentially for Cambodia to be investment there?
I think this is one of the very important questions. Cambodia have because of the similarity of our history. It's a post-conflict country, and then one of the going to be a good model is must be Cambodian people. Because they know in the past we have a conflict, we reconcile each other. It's not easy to healing the bonds for the between civil war. It's not easy. You can healing the bonds with the foreign occupation, but civil war is not easy. But Cambodia is able, and Cambodia now show to the world now, and most of the international people now is come visited Cambodia because of wanted to know the history as well. For example, like a Pol Pot regime for the killing field. And no one believed that is how come the Pol Pot will be killing such of million of people or something like that. And that is a very unique, and that was one of the main factor for the foreigner wanted to come. And of course Cambodia have a like Angkor Wat and a beautiful island. It's almost little bit similar like it. So now how we going to encourage that, because it's most of the Cambodian business people and not really much not much visit to Timor Leste first. So and now is my mission how to encourage more Cambodian brothers and sisters of Cambodia to come and visit, to observe in the field, and to help your brother and sister how we going to develop our tourism industry.
You know what? The first person that want to see the Timor Leste journalist, including myself. I really want to see the Timor Leste.
Thank you very much indeed. So I'm planning, and after COVID, and we need to invite it for the the first is a Cambodian journalist from the television and mass media. Must be much more to come and
go and see and report
to report and the progress of development of Timor Leste, then to promoting into Cambodia. And also Timor Leste journalists can come, we can exchange visit Cambodia, not only in Phnom Penh, must be come to Siem Reap, Sihanouk Vale, and
other places,
other important sector like special economic zones. Cambodia is a very experiences of this. So that's why it's important for us, and we already informed to our capital during my mission 1 year here, and so after COVID, and can more Cambodian business people can come and to visit Timor Leste to see and what is the model of a good special economic zones.
Good. So now we have about 10 minutes time, so I'd like you to talk a bit more about the ASEAN, which I think that the years of time that the Timor Leste have applied to be an ASEAN membership, and till now it's about the matter is about time, right? So how's that progress these days? Is there any good news that the Timor Leste is going to become the ASEAN, the 11th ASEAN member soon, or still need more time?
Regarding for the accession of Timor Leste to ASEAN, allow me to congratulate him for government of Cambodia, of the Cambodia, especially Prime Minister Samdech Hussein, been a very strong supporting for Timor-Leste accession to be member of ASEAN.
Right.
This is a great appreciation for the people of Cambodia, especially the government under the leadership of Samdech Hussein. So is a little bit my experiences after I visited for my diplomatic visit task to the province like Siem Reap, Sihanouk Vale, and Suairen, to the border between Cambodia and something. People in the border and around there, they know about Timor.
Right.
They already know about Timor.
They know more about East Timor.
Yeah,
and now become Timor-Leste.
Timor.
Right.
Timor-Leste a little bit
Right.
very hard, but then they know because of being promoting, because of they all know that Timor-Leste is not going to be the next 11 member of ASEAN.
Right.
Our country is always support for Timor-Leste.
Right.
So that's why is a very significant, is important. For regarding for Timor-Leste access into ASEAN, so in the past in 2018, I think there is been fact-finding mission already visited Timor-Leste.
Right.
All Asian member states been visited there, and also be doing a very good progress. For last September, we have a social cultural committee interface virtual meeting. The result is very good. It's been acknowledged by the summit of 37 in Hanoi, very recent.
Right.
And also we have a very good progress for it's what we call is a senior economic official meeting, very recent, last in December, last 7 to 9. And Timor all member of state of ASEAN, and allow for Timor-Leste have what we call is AEC, Asian Economic Community, economic pillar, virtual interface for this. It was very successful. That is the last session, and now we waiting for after for another fact-finding mission for the Asian Social Cultural Community, or maybe after COVID, then how can to come to Timor-Leste. That the progress is very good, because it's we've been submitted our application for almost 10 years.
Right.
And so we are hard working, very serious. Timor-Leste foreign policy is very clear. We are ASEAN is number one.
Right.
Because of Timor-Leste, we realize that Timor-Leste is part of these regions.
Right.
And a long time ago, before 1975, Timor-Leste, independence, Timor-Leste already have a plan to when we become a
yeah. But one of the problems that I learned is Singapore and Laos, the two of them, they not yet support Timor-Leste to be member of ASEAN. What is the problem? What is the obstacle behind the scene?
Well, I think it's not any something, because it's based on ASEAN Charter.
Right.
It's have a consensus. We don't want it to interfere or something like that. Their own internal decisions.
Right.
But for recent for the AAC meeting, and all our foreign ministers also have a meeting with all the residence ambassador in Timor-Leste before the AAC interface meeting.
Right.
And also all the ambassadors in ASEAN, included in Laos, in Singapore, trying to have to meet with the counterpart for a senior economic meeting for this what we call is SIOM,
Right.
Then all is being positive, and now we are waiting. We don't know any reason for Singapore or Laos or something like that. But after we confirm like Laos is not much more compromise.
Right.
And Singapore, I think is finally whether to waiting
Right.
for after the another for fact-finding mission.
Right.
And hopefully for the under the Brunei chairmanship for the
Right.
starting for the next year, and then hopefully will be accept and then have some result
Right.
consensus for to accept Timor-Leste.
So basically, Timor-Leste already prepared, already ready to be members of the ASEAN, or you can comply or can reach all criteria that all the ASEAN chapter wanted.
Well, so far we been all the criteria, something we already fulfill all the criteria.
Right.
Like criteria for to establish all the embassy is 10
Right.
Asian country. We already established our embassy for 10 Asian member of Asian country.
Right.
Very initial after the independence, our leader announced that so Asian is the first. Then we starting open
Right.
the embassy of all the members of the Asian country.
So what advantage you can see that if you one day the Timor-Leste get the 11 membership within ASEAN? What is the advantage?
Well, advantage is important. Asian is one of the big market.
Right.
And have a very big market is meaning like a big population as well.
Exactly.
More than 300.
So become like a 600 over 50 million people,
That's right,
you know,
that's
right?
right. Yeah. So that is and have a very big capital finance around Asian country. That is important for Timor-Leste to have to be if quick.
Right.
To be as accession to be member of formalized to access, and then Timor-Leste can be
Right.
the newest country as a post-conflict country. We can learning more
Right.
for the other piece of this association of Asian country. But
Right.
here I have to emphasize that is we are in the geographically we are part of this region is
Right.
what we call is we are in a living in one house, only different rooms.
Right.
So
We are under the roof of Asia,
exactly,
right?
exactly, and so that's why is important. Our government very committed for
Right.
to accession of this ASEAN, and we are very serious, very serious.
So you really hope that soon the Timor-Leste is going to be members of the ASEAN, or you're a bit of hopeless?
Well, and we are very optimistic.
Right.
We are very optimistic. All the members of the ASEAN state
Right.
can hopefully for next year, and if anything not complete by 2020,
Right.
maybe the other country still consider, and then anything for the New Year's for 2021, that is
Right.
a good chance. Can the other members of Asian country will show their strong commitment,
Right.
same as like Cambodia
Right.
has been promoting Timor-Leste with a very serious
Right.
to be accepted for the accession of members.
Well, I think Cambodia will be could be share again in 2022. It's going to be a share of the ASEAN, which would be highly potential to convince the rest of the members, the state members of ASEAN, to bring the Timor-Leste into a part of the bloc of the ASEAN. But by the way, we run out of time. But the last a few more questions. I think how do you rating and evaluate relationship between Cambodia's and Timor-Leste?
Oh well, and I think it's for the my evaluations between our diplomatic relationships and since a change for the high-level visit, for example, for Samdech Day-2 Hussein for have paid a visit to the Timor-Leste in 2016.
Right.
And at that, most of people of Timor-Leste line up in the road and all welcome for the big delegations.
Right.
And also at the same times, people of Timor-Leste are not forgetting these historical things. And His Excellency Samdech Day-2, Prime Minister, also announced the first visit and offered the 10 scholarships.
Right.
We call it Cambodian and Timor-Leste friendship friendly scholarship. That is a very honor for Timor-Leste. And also, so far in a very recent, just on the last 2nd of December, that is one of the first time in the history that is from Indochina, one of the 2 aeroplanes as a post-conflict country,
Right.
and under the government of Samdech Day-2 Hussein, to sharing the love and solidarity,
Right.
and humanity, and supporting aids for humanitarian aid for the mask, 1.5 million, also other equipment of the COVID-19, how to for Timor-Leste to prevent
Right.
for this disease, something. And Timor-Leste are all our government. They are all very happy. Very is amazing.
Right.
That is a airways of Cambodia.
Right.
They've been listening. They've been heard about Cambodia, but is the first these 2 aeroplanes came to Timor-Leste.
Right.
That is the paving the way.
Right.
That is the paving the way for the people, and now much more know about Cambodia. In Cambodia side also, because of after this aid was live from Timor-Leste,
Right.
and all people of Cambodia accompany about all this news. And
Okay.
I think is after the COVID, this is much more easy for my mission here to talking about for my country, and to invite it for the people of Cambodia, and include yourself. Come there as a journalist, come the first visit, maybe the rest will become soon.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing your wisdoms about our both the bilateral relationship between the Timor-Leste and Cambodia. Thank you so much.
Thank you.